The path curves, gentle and pale beneath your feet, as if it remembers the tread of others before you. Moonlight pools in silver puddles upon moss and root, and a hush lives here, thick and old, the kind of silence that listens. You walk slower, now, as if the quiet draws breath from your own, and even the air holds still to watch you pass. Beneath the weightless hush, a willow appears. It leans as though tired, or thinking. Long limbs drift downward, like the arms of a sleeping spirit, brushing the earth in slow arcs, and the air beneath the canopy changes. Cooler, dimmer, a green-tinted twilight, even in the night. The leaves rustle not in wind, but in memory. You can feel it the way some trees remember rain, even when the sky is dry. You step under, and the grave appears. The stone is small, nearly swallowed by grass and leaf shadow. Its name is worn to nothing, only the barest indentations remain, shallow ghosts of letters, like a language only the wind can read. You crouch without thinking. Your hand rests near it, not touching. You don't need to. The earth is tender here. It has held this story a long time. You sit, letting your legs fold beneath you. The ground sighs in small sounds, leaf against soil, a distant owl, the slow shifting of roots beneath your spine. There's comfort here. Nothing asks anything of you, not even the past. The willow breathes. Its branches sway with no breeze. Its trunk creaks gently, like a whisper spoken just behind your ear. You tilt your head and listen, not for words, but for the spaces between them. The hush beneath hush, the echo of someone you never met, and yet somehow remember, a feeling without shape. A memory that isn't yours. The stone glows faintly in the dimness, not with light, but with stillness, a kind of attention, like it knows you're here and approves. You lean back against the base of the tree and feel its old heart beating in rings of age. The bark is rough and warm, like weathered skin. Your breath slows. You wonder who once lay here, who still might. But the thought is soft, like asking a question of the sea, knowing the answer is in the rhythm of the waves, not in words. Perhaps it was someone who loved trees, or silence, or maybe someone who wept often and needed this weeping willow to share the sorrow. You don't know. You don't need to. The wind changes, brushing past the back of your neck with the coolness of a shadow passing overhead. You look up, not in fear, but instinct, and see nothing, just branches swaying, impossibly slow. But the wind speaks again, threading through the leaves. A name you can't catch it, but it's there, not on your tongue, not in your ears, somewhere else, behind your ribs, like a forgotten lullaby your grandmother once hummed. It stirs something, not sadness exactly, but a quiet ache, round-edged and familiar. You let it settle beside you, like an old friend who has stopped by, without need for words. The willow leans further, just slightly, as if eavesdropping on your silence, and you let it. Time folds here, minutes become years. The stars above you blink slower, dimmer. You are held in green dusk, in the arms of a tree, older than sorrow. A leaf lands on your shoulder, featherlight, and you feel the weight of years in its touch. All at once, you are the visitor and the remembered. You close your eyes, but you are not asleep. You are dreaming awake. The kind of dream where you forget your name, and it feels like freedom. You are just breath and heartbeat and presence beneath a tree that knows you. Somehow, your hand brushes the earth again, and this time you feel it. Not cold, not warm, but living. The way a story hums beneath the skin of a book, even unopened. This place hums too. A quiet lullaby played in root and wind and shadow. A song for those who have come and gone and sat here as you are. Sitting now, the owl calls again, distant and steady. One note, then nothing. A memory, barely yours, floats up like mist. A girl with braids laughing under this very tree, sunlight dripping through leaves like honey. Then, the same girl, older, her hands in the dirt, planting something. Then, older still, stillness, in her limbs, resting at last in the hollow she made. Maybe it's her name in the wind, maybe not. You think it doesn't matter, not really. The leaves stir once more. The ground beneath you exhales, and for a moment, you do too, deeper than before. You let the last tension leave your body, unfurling like a fern beneath moonlight. There is nothing to hold, nothing to fear. The tree keeps you above. A branch creaks, and a single leaf detaches, swirling down in lazy spirals, slow as time. You follow its path with your eyes, lulled by its descent. It lands beside the grave, quiet as sleep. Somewhere far away, or perhaps just within the folds of your mind, a bell tolls. Not loud, not near, but soft, and low, and vast, as though marking something sacred, something gone. The tree leans a little more, and the ground, soft and forgiving, listens. A mist drifts low, curling around your ankles, winding slowly down the path behind you. You do not rise, not yet. You will rise when it feels right. For now, you stay. With the willow, with the name that has no letters. With the hush dot, and in the distance, beneath the murmuring of branches and breath, a glimmer of light begins to pulse, faint golden, as though from a lantern left at a gate you cannot yet see. Asterisk. The wind is softer here. It weaves through iron gates and curling ivy, brushing past the cracked stone archway that marks the entrance to the cemetery's forgotten quarter. You step lightly, as if your presence alone might stir the dust of long-lost names. Grass grows tall here, uncut and dreaming, and it leans into your ankles like it remembers the shape of morning feet. The path beneath you is barely a path at all, just a suggestion of steps worn into the earth by those who no longer return. Moonlight breaks through the clouds in pale, thoughtful ribbons, illuminating only what it wishes to be seen. You move slowly, your breath steady, the night holding you in its quiet arms. Ahead, a rise in the earth, a low hill crowned by a circle of old stones. They lean at weary angles, some nearly swallowed by moss and shadow. And in the center, the altar, it isn't grand, nor is it holy in any formal sense. Just a flat slab of time-worn granite, circled by dozens of candles, tall, short, broken, burned to 2 stubs. Wax has spilled and hardened into soft rivers over the years, curling around the base like frozen tears. Dust coats them all. Ash gathers in the crevices. No footprints mark the soil. And yet one candle burns. Its flame is small, unsteady, the color of warm breath in winter. It dances gently in the windless air, as though it recognizes you, as though your arrival was anticipated. You don't question why it glows. You simply approach. You kneel beside it, hands resting on your thighs, your shadow casting long over the stone. The flame flickers but does not flee. It wavers toward you, as if leaning closer to whisper something lost in the hush of centuries. Behind you, the grave markers huddle like cloaked figures in prayer. Some bear names, others have been worn blank by rain and years. One leans so deeply it seems to sleep. Another is cracked down the middle, as though the soul beneath it once tried. To rise, you listen, not for voices, not for footsteps, but for something deeper. The hush between gusts of wind, the stillness that comes just before memory returns. Somewhere in that silence, you feel them not as shapes, not even as presence, but as warmth. A softening of the night air, a weightless brush against your sleeve, the faintest scent, beeswax, and something floral, long faded. Your gaze lingers on the candle, watching it dip slightly, like a bow of greeting. Then it straightens, steadies. More candles surround it, unlit, long forgotten. You reach toward one, not to light it, but to trace the shape of its curve. The wax is soft, as if it remembers heat. A thin thread of wick crumbles at your touch. No hand placed these candles recently, no living one, and still. There's a reverence to their arrangement, not random, not careless. Each candle angled toward the altar, their melted sides turned inward, as if in conversation, as if they gather each night to remember, to wait. The burning one flutters again. Its glow grows brighter for just a moment, casting flickering shadows across the nearby stones. In that light, the altar's surface comes into clearer view, carved lines barely legible. A sigil, perhaps, or an old name etched by a trembling hand. You do not try to read it. You simply place your hand upon the edge of the stone. It's warm, not with fire, not with sun, but with something ancient, something remembering. A breeze passes behind you, the first you felt since you entered this hidden quarter. It carries no chill, only the faint sound of fabric moving, as though robes once worn by mourners rustle past you again, replaying a ceremony the earth cannot forget. You look up, across the graveyard, beyond the altar. A trail of low markers winds its way into the fog. Shapes disappear there, swallowed by mist. But for a breathless moment, you think you see movement. The subtle pause of someone kneeling, the rise of a hand placing something near the base of a stone. Then nothing. You return your gaze to the flame. It has not dimmed. You don't need to know why it lights itself. You don't need to know who waits in the shadows, or who once stood where you now kneel. The stillness is its own answer. The quiet, its own prayer. In this forgotten corner, where candles lean and wax remembers the shape of grief, there is no fear, only presence, only the sense that something once loved still lingers, gently, unhurried. Your breath slows. You close your eyes, and when you open them again, the flame is smaller, lower, not fading, just folding in on itself, like a yawn, like a sigh, like the end of a song, long song. You rise. Slowly behind you, the grass whispers again. You walk away from the altar, each step soft as dusk. The candle does not follow, nor does it go out. It remains behind, a watchful eye, a whispered memory, a flame left not for someone, but for the act of remembrance itself. As you pass beyond the hill, the mist curls closer, and the sound of the breeze returns. You follow it down a narrow slope, past the hush of eve-wrapped angels and a rusted bell without a clapper. Your hand trails along cold stone, your breath fogging in the silver air. Then, gently, just as you near the bend, you feel a warmth again, faint, quiet, like another flame blooming into life, far behind you, and somewhere in the fog ahead. The soft sound of pages turning, the path curves quietly beneath your steps, cobbled stones scattered with moss and fallen petals, as though the earth itself has softened here, gentler, more forgiving. The trees hush their branches as you pass. Even the wind seems to draw. In its breath, in the distance, barely visible through a drapery of weeping vines and silver mist, stands what remains of a chapel, or the memory of one. Its spire is long gone, crumbled into the graveyard's embrace. Its walls lean inward like tired shoulders, and ivy spills from the crests of broken arches like green tears. There is no door, only an archway worn smooth by time, and beyond it, a hush that feels holy in its stillness. You pause at the threshold, unsure if you are intruding or being invited. The scent greets you first, not fresh, but lingering. Old incense, something floral and sacred, clings faintly to the air, as though it has woven itself into the stones. You breathe it in slowly, and it calms you, soft as lavender smoke, curling in an unseen censer. Inside, the floor is uneven, a mosaic of stone slabs and rootwork. Shafts of moonlight fall through the open ceiling, dust motes drifting lazily in their glow like candlelit ash. There are no pews, only suggestions, their wooden frames collapsed into elegant piles of rot and ruin. And yet you know where they stood. You feel the lines they once formed, the way they held bodies still in reverence, how silence used to bloom between their rows like a secret garden. Your footsteps echo, soft but endless. Each tap on the stone reaches into corners no longer there. You try to step lightly, not out of fear, but respect for something that was once treasured here. Above, a sliver of sky stares down. A single cloud drifts slowly across it, like a forgotten thought returning. There is no altar now, just a raised platform blanketed in ivy, like a bed laid out for a dream. The air shifts as you approach, and that's when you hear it, humming, so faint, it may be inside you. But no, it loops, carries, breaks, slightly at the same place each time. A melody, without words, sorrowful and sweet. It does not seem concerned that no one listens anymore. You turn, searching. Nothing moves. Nothing needs to. The sound is not coming from someone. It is someone. You feel it thread through the bones of the place. You feel it brush against your skin like the hem of a long-lost robe. A memory of devotion lingers here, not in grand proclamations, but in soft harmonies, sung when no one else remained. Perhaps the choir never truly stopped. Perhaps one voice lingered after all the others were gone, humming for those who no longer came. You step around the perimeter, fingers trailing across stone, etched with faint marks, not inscriptions, but lines, symbols, places where time wrote its own scripture. Light flares briefly through a shattered stained glass remnant, casting a circle of emerald and rose upon the floor. You sit in the center of it. The light holds you gently. The hum deepens, folds over itself like water over pebbles, always flowing, but never rushing. Around you, the chapel breathes. The ivy sways without breeze. The stones exhale warmth drawn from 1,000 yesterdays. You wonder who hummed, whose voice had held on when all others faded. Was it the old choir master, pacing beneath a stormless sky? Was it a child left behind in the pews, singing for a mother who never returned? Or was it no one, and only the bones of song itself, echoing out of habit? You close your eyes, and now you feel it more than hear it. The hum coils softly into your thoughts, threading them into the cadence of its lullaby. Your breath slows, to match its rhythm. You are not singing, but you are being sung to. A small bell rings. Once, from nowhere, it shivers through the air, pure and silver. You do not know if it is real. You do not mind. The scent of incense rises again, fuller this time, curling into your hair and clothes, cloaking you in old warmth. A choir without bodies hums on, endless, for no one and everyone. You feel your weight grow light. The chapel does not vanish. It deepens, becoming part of you. The echoes you leave behind stay humming, and just beyond the broken arch, where moonlight waits on stone, a second bell rings, very faint and fading into silence. The rusted gate resists your touch, then sighs open with the weight of years. It swings outward, not in welcome nor in warning, but with the tired grace of something that remembers being needed. Beyond it, a path curves gently through the trees, hemmed by moss and the murmurs of unseen things. The ground is soft, padded with fallen needles and time. You take your first step, and then a lantern flickers to life. It hangs from a crooked post, its glass smudged and haloed with age. Inside, the flame curls into being without sound, without spark, as though it had only been sleeping. A warm circle of light spills out, golden and calm, brushing the bark of nearby trees, catching on the silver lichen, like frost. You pause. The flame leans slightly toward you, like a nod, or a greeting, or a question. Another step, another lantern. This one sways slightly before it glows, as if it feels your breath, or hears your tread. It kindles gently, and for a moment, the two flames speak in silent wavers of light, a secret language between watchful things. You wonder who lights them. You wonder if someone waits at the end of this path with a match in hand, keeping vigil in the hush. But the air holds no trace of ash or smoke, only the scent of wet moss, and the faintest tang of metal. No footsteps follow yours, and yet, you feel a presence, not behind you, but beside, just out of view, just out of reach. The path is narrow enough for one. Still, something walks with you in the hush between lights, where the trees press close, and the night leans in to listen. The wind stirs softly, brushing past your cheek, like a memory with nowhere to go. It carries with it the sound of distant bells, perhaps real, perhaps imagined, tolling low and slow, as if beneath a lake, or beneath the earth. They do not call, they do not warn, they simply are. Each lantern that lights does so with the gentleness of a yawn. Farther in, the path begins to bend, like a question mark drawn in roots. The trees arch overhead, in patient reverence, their limbs tangled with ivy that glows faintly in the lantern light. Moss drapes the stones that edge the path, old markers with names rubbed away by time and rain. You pause at one, a small, crumbling piece of marble, hugged by forget-me-nots. There is no name, only a carved spiral. Your fingers hover above it, but do not touch. The stone feels watched. Another flame flickers ahead. The light sways once, then steadies, then you follow. The further you go, the more the world forgets its edges. The path grows soft beneath your feet, like a dream becoming uncertain. The lanterns no longer wait to be passed. They bloom ahead of you now, as though they know your pace, your thoughts, your weight. Some burn low, others tall and bright, their reflections caught in puddles that shimmer with stars not found in the sky above. You peer into one and see not your face, but the suggestion of another, hooded in light, wrapped in mist, turning away before you can ask. You do not speak. Words feel too sharp for this place. Instead, you listen. There's a hush that isn't silence, a presence in the spaces between the flames, a slow inhale and exhale that isn't quite wind. The path becomes cathedral-like, the lanterns as altars, the trees as arches. You move through the hush, as though in ceremony, not yours, but someone else's, someone long gone, or not yet come. The moss grows thicker here. The ground muffles each step more completely, and your breath feels both your own and borrowed. You think of the old stories of lantern keepers who guided lost souls, of graveyard wards who walked the night with only light and memory for company. Were they ever real? You wonder. Or are you stepping now into the dream of one? A lantern flickers beside a stone bench where ivy has taken the place of names. You sit, for a time, or what feels like time. You simply sit. The lantern burns beside you without sound, its glow soft and drowsy, casting shadows that curl like smoke. A low mist thickens in the hollows around the trees, drifting lazily across the path, as if even it is reluctant to move too quickly. Somewhere, farther down the trail, a lantern flares, then stills. You rise, you follow. The final stretch of the path hums faintly under your soles, as if old stories were buried beneath it, just beginning to wake. The air grows cooler, but not cold. The mist gathers at your knees now, soft as wool, weightless as a sigh. The trees thin. The lanterns begin to fade behind you, one by one, dimming without sound, not extinguished, only sleeping once more. Ahead, the final lantern waits. It is taller than the rest, its glass clear, its frame polished as if by rain and memory alone. Its flame dances high, casting its light not forward, but downward, onto a small set of stone steps that vanish into the mist. You pause beside it. No figure stands with flint or steel. No keeper offers passage, and yet the way is open. You feel it then, a presence that is not a presence. A piece that presses gently against your shoulders, like a shawl laid there. Long ago, it says nothing. It asks nothing, only waits. And just before you step forward, you glance back. The path is empty. The lanterns, one by one, dim to darkness. But for just a moment, in the puddle beside your feet, you see a second reflection. A figure beside you, hand outstretched, holding nothing but light. Then the image ripples and fades. Only the last flame remains. Its glow spills softly across the stone, warm as a memory you never had. You place your foot on the first step and descend as the mist rises to greet you. A hush of bells somewhere far below, and the scent of matches still lingering. You wander through the older part of the graveyard, where the stones lean gently into the moss, as if weary from standing so long. The path here dissolves beneath creeping ivy and slow-moving roots, and your footsteps make no sound on the soft damp earth. Time folds in this part of the world. Every minute feels like a memory, and the sky, a gauze of pale gray, trembles with the hush before rainfall. The air is thick with petrichor, that scent of old soil kissed by coming rain. You pause by a stone to warn to bear a name, half sunk into the ground, its edge cradled by damp ferns. Beneath it, something glints faintly, like a sigh, catching light. You kneel, fingers brushing aside moss and leaf mold, and there, nestled in the hollow beneath, lies a small box. It is no larger than your palm. Its lid greened with lichen, the metal softened by years of rain and sleep. You lift it gently, its hinges groaning in protest, and inside, letters, dozens of them. Ink-blotted paper curled at the edges, bound with fading ribbons. You do not know who wrote them, nor for whom they were meant, but they feel like offerings, left in silence and never taken. You sit beneath a weeping cedar, its long branches folding around you like a cloak. One letter, at random, you unfold. The paper is fragile as breath. The words, still legible, curve with a grace that feels personal. Handwriting, shaped by love, or longing, or both. Dearest, it begins, and stops, as if the thought refused to finish itself. Another reads, I waited for you beneath the sycamore, but the bell never rang. The letters are filled with pauses, unspoken feelings left in the space between sentences. And though you do not know these people, your breath slows, your body quiets, as if their sorrow has become your own. The sky darkens with low clouds, and then, without sound, the first drops of rain begin to fall. It is the softest rain, the kind that kisses leaves and disappears into the ground. It falls on the letters, and though you shelter them with your hands, a few drops stain the page, blurring the ink until it runs like tears down ancient lines. You listen. The rain is saying something, not with words exactly, but each drop has a rhythm, a shape, a syllable. Some fall sharp and quick, like laughter cut short. Others linger long, slow sounds that echo off stone. You close your eyes, and in the hush between drops, you hear names. Not shouted, but whispered. The kind of whisper that carries across generations. A letter flutters from the box, and lands face up beside you. The ink here has all but faded, yet you trace the shape of it with your fingertips. If you still think of me, I will feel it in the rain. It's enough to make you look up. The whole graveyard seems still, but not empty. The cedars tilt their branches toward one another. A single bell chimes from some distant tower. Soft, not sad, just remembering. You begin to read aloud, not in a voice meant to reach others, but softly, like a lullaby for the forgotten. One letter after another, letting the ink melt into the moment. The sound of your voice barely rises above the rain, and yet somehow, it feels like someone is listening. A crow, silver-feathered from age, perches on a nearby stone, watching with dark eyes. You nod once in greeting, and it cocks its head, as if to say, continue. The letters blur. Not from rain alone, but from time unraveling. The box itself begins to change, no longer a thing of rust and metal, but something softer. Almost as if it were made of bark and memory, as though it grew here, fed by the longing buried in its pages. The rain deepens. It does not pour. It does not lash. It simply continues. A steady murmur, like voices in sleep. The air smells of lavender and smoke. You read a letter that ends with only one word, come. Another says, I forgave you long before the last snowfall. And then, one letter, nearly dissolved, falls open on your knee. Its words are shaped differently, slanted, rushed. You can barely decipher them, but what you see reads, this is where I waited for you, under the stone with no name. I knew you would come. You stop. A breath catches in the trees. The rain lingers on your hands, and for just a moment, the veil between now and then grows thin. A figure, perhaps, in the corner of your eye, standing where no one stood a moment before. Just a shadow, just the curve of his shoulder. Gone when you turn, but something remains. A warmth, barely there. A presence woven into the falling rain. The letters seem lighter in your hands now, as though having been read, they are released. No longer heavy with unsaid things. You close the lid of the box, not to hide it, but to hold it safe. You nestle it back beneath the hollow stone, tucking moss gently around its edge. You whisper a thank you, not sure to whom. The rain hushes again, not ending, but softening, growing finer, like silk threads falling through air. The path ahead is misted, and the stones seem to float as you rise and walk slowly on. You pass beneath an arch, where vines cradle wind chimes made of bone and glass. They stir with the breeze, ringing in low. Musical tones, the sound of dreams drifting homeward. Somewhere ahead, a faint light flickers, and behind you the sound of pages turning, one by one. Fading now into the hush, before the lantern glows. The fog is thick tonight, tender as breath on glass. It hangs low across the graves like a shawl, wrapping the earth in silence. You walk slowly, each step muffled by the dew-drenched moss, the stones beneath your feet softened by age and time. Trees stand in reverent stillness, their limbs heavy with night's hush. And ahead, outlined in dusky shadow, rises the bell tower, tall, skeletal, and waiting. It leans ever so slightly, as if listening. Ivy climbs its bones, threading through crumbled mortar and archways long abandoned. No sound comes from it, no call or chime. And yet, your body knows the place, as if it has waited for you for many lifetimes. You drift forward, the cool air brushing your cheeks like ghost-like fingers. A set of worn stone steps lead up into the dark. You ascend them slowly, one hand grazing the wall beside you. It's cold, damp, textured with stories long dissolved. Above you, the tower opens like a throat to the sky, hollow and echoing. There is no bell, only the frame where it once hung, the rusted spine of an absence. A silence shaped like something once sacred, and then you see it. A single rope dangles. From the beams frayed and swaying, though the air is utterly still, it rocks forward, then back, then forward again, as if stirred by breath, not wind. As if it remembers the weight of a hand. You reach out. Your fingers meet the rope, and the moment your skin touches it, something stirs beneath your ribs. Not a sound, not yet, but a pressure, a hum. The rope is warm, impossibly warm, like it carries the memory of fire. Its fibers sigh beneath your touch. You close your hand around it, gently, and something inside you tolls, soft and low, like the echo of grief through water. You do not pull. You simply hold. The vibrations ripple into your bones, into the hollows of your chest, into the long-forgotten corridors of your heart. It is a language without words, a remembering without images. The rope thrums with longing, and still no bell sounds. Only the hush of mist brushing the tower walls, only the sound of your own breath growing slower, quieter, with each passing moment. Below you, the graveyard spreads like a forgotten garden, shadowed and silvered by moonlight. Headstones lean toward the tower, as though listening to you. Wonder who once rang this bell, who stood here year after year, calling time into the air for weddings, for deaths, for firelight vigils and winter warnings. The rope still holds. Their touch, you can feel them, all of them. A flutter of wings disturbs the quiet. A pale moth, or perhaps something older than name or wing. It glides through the hollow of the tower, circling the beam, then vanishes into the haze again. It leaves no sound behind it, only a shimmer in your vision, like memory evaporating. You let your hand slide down the rope until it falls away, limp and still once more. The hum inside you lingers, echoing faintly, like the aftertaste of a song you cannot name. Your palm tingles. You feel the urge to speak aloud, but no words form. The air here is too thick with reverence. You descend the stairs again, each step slower than the last. Something within you has shifted, not sharply, not loudly, but like stone settling into earth. Like acceptance. Like the final line of a poem whispered by someone you loved long ago. Back on the ground, you glance up. The rope above sways once more, ever so slightly. It no longer waits for you. It waits for someone else, someone yet to come. Your path curls gently away from the tower. You walk on, the mist folding around you like soft arms. The graveyard deepens with every step, the fog thickening into velvet. You pass angel statues softened by lichen, crosses bowed by time, names so worn they have become sighs. Far off, behind you now, the tower still stands, still silent, but within you, the echo remains. That soft toll, that impossible bell. You carry it with you, not as a burden, but as a rhythm, a guide ahead. The fog parts just enough to reveal another path, lined with weeping trees. A faint rustle moves through their branches, though no wind stirs. You follow it. Something is waiting just beyond, and in the distance, barely heard, barely real, the slow sound of wings, circling. Then silence. Mist cradles the earth tonight like a breath held between worlds. You walk slowly, every footfall softened by damp moss and fallen petals, though no flowers bloom this season. The stones stretch before you like frozen notes in a forgotten hymn, each one worn smooth by time and silence. Shadows slip between them with gentle grace, and above it all, the sky glows a pale silver, caught between cloud and dream. You follow a path you didn't know existed, drawn not by memory, but by feeling. The grave lies ahead, though you've never seen it, you know it's near. There is no gate, no marker, only the soft hush of the trees leaning in, their leaves whispering lullabies in a language older than speech. The air is thick with stillness, not heavy, but waiting, as if the ground itself listens. And then, there it is, nestled beneath the wide wings of an ash tree, whose branches curl low, as if shielding something sacred. The grave is unassuming. The stone plain, no name, no date, only the small etching of a bird mid-flight, carved shallow but sure into its surface. The edges are worn, feathered by weather and decades of wind, yet the wings remain open, always open, as if ready to lift. You kneel without knowing why. The grass here is different, a little softer, a little warmer, as if it remembers a time when someone sat nearby, often folding letters into silence. You touch the stone, and the warmth lingers. They call it the widow's grave. A quiet breeze stirs the hem of your coat. Then again, a deeper motion, more rhythmic, a creaking, low and faint. Not jarring, not eerie, just old, familiar, sound like wood, yielding gently beneath time and habit. The sound of a rocking chair, slowly moving back and forth. But there is no chair. Nothing sits beside the grave but fallen leaves and silver-threaded cobwebs, stitched delicately into the roots of the tree. Still, the sound remains. You sit back on your heels and close your eyes. Listen back and forth. The rhythm continues, faint as a heartbeat heard through layers of cloth. The sound folds into the mist, and then into your breath, becoming part of you. With each rock, it's as though time rewinds just a little, slipping back to a night when someone waited here. When hands weathered and kind clutched a shawl against the wind, and eyes soft with sorrow looked up toward the moon, searching. Perhaps she came here each night. Perhaps the bird on the stone was one she watched fly away. Perhaps her grief made. The chair creaked long after she'd left it behind. There is something deeply human in the silence here. Not lonely, just full. Full of the things never spoken aloud, the goodbyes never said. You look to the bird again. Its wings seem caught mid-beat, as if trying to carry both memory and release. You wonder what name she carried in her heart. Was it his? Was it her own? Did the wind carry it away, or was it buried here with her, folded into earth and leaf? The moonlight slips between the branches now, bathing the stone in a hush of silver. The bird glows faintly, as if warmed from within. A slow flutter touches your shoulder, not wind, not leaf, just presence, a brush of memory. Then the sound returns. Creak and stillness creak. It fades as you listen, but never fully leaves. And somehow, that feels right. Not all echoes are meant to disappear. Some are meant to stay, as gentle reminders, as lullabies for the earth. Your gaze drifts upward. The branches above look like fingers loosely folded in sleep. There are no stars, only the soft press of clouds and the occasional blink of an owl's eye in the dark. You sit beside the grave now, legs folded, breath slow. The mist thickens a little, curling around the stone like a shawl. You watch the tendrils gather, rising and falling with the slow rhythm of unseen breath, back and forth. You imagine a woman in a chair that once stood here. Not young, not old, just timeless. Her silhouette bathed in moonlight, hands folded, her eyes always fixed on the path her love took long ago. Perhaps he never returned, or perhaps he did, only in dreams. There's a peace in that, in waiting, even when the world forgets. And now, though her name is gone, her story whispers through the rocking sound and the bird in flight. She is not alone. The earth remembers her, and tonight, so do you. You trace the edge of the stone, one last time, fingers slow and reverent. The warmth has faded, but the hush remains, not silence but reverence. As you stand, the grass springs gently back into place. A soft chime rings from somewhere far off. Not a bell, exactly, but something like it. A shimmer of sound caught on wind. You pause, letting it wash over you. Then another breath of air stirs the branches, and for a moment, you think you see the chair, just a faint outline in the mist, the shadow gently rocking back and forth. But you do not look too closely. Some things are meant to be felt, not seen. You turn from the grave, not hurried. The sound lingers, just behind your steps. The bird in flight etched in your memory now, as if it too follows you quiet. Steady, waiting. Far off, the fog shifts again, and through it, the suggestion of lantern light flickers, faint and golden, as if someone walks just ahead, lighting the way. The mist thickens once more, and the rocking fades into the hush of footsteps, into the silence of a winding path, into the gentle glow of a lantern swaying in the dark. It begins as a breath, long and low, exhaled by the sleeping ground. The fog coils in from nowhere and everywhere, rising not in haste, but with the patience of something ancient. It gathers beneath the black iron gates and pools in the hollows between crooked stones. You pause just past the gate, and the silence folds over you like a soft blanket. All sound muffles. All distance vanishes. The path is gone, or never was. Each step forward feels like stepping into a story half told. The grass is damp and giving beneath your feet. The scent of lavender strangely strong here. Not the kind from gardens, but the deeper, older kind, pressed into sassace in the bottom drawers of vanished homes. You walk slowly, as if the world might shift with any sudden movement. Fog curls around your ankles, whispering to itself in tongues too old to decipher, and above you, the branches of a yew tree vanish into the blur. You do not know where you are going, but your body moves with certainty. There is no fear, only stillness, and the aching quiet that follows something beautiful being lost. The gravestones drift past like shadows, their names smudged away by time and weather. Each one hums with memory, though no music reaches your ears. Some tilt into the mist like sleepers leaning into dreams. Others stand proud and forgotten, the last sentinels of vanished lives. You lift a hand, brushing the fog as if it were a curtain, and perhaps it is. Shapes bloom and fade with each step. A bench appears, worn and moss-soft, cradled in ivy. A lantern on a hook, long unlit, holds a single white feather. The air is so thick you cannot tell if you are walking through a graveyard or simply wandering inside a memory. Somewhere to your right, a slow, steady drip of water echoes, as if from an unseen fountain. It is rhythmic, almost a heartbeat. You find yourself moving toward it without realizing. The fog parts just enough to reveal a shallow basin of stone, cracked and moss-lined. Rainwater has collected inside, though no rain has fallen today. Floating on its surface is a circle of flower petals, delicate and pale, caught in an endless orbit. You lean close, watching the slow spiral, and the petals seem to turn toward you. As if listening, from the fog, something brushes your shoulder. Not touch, exactly, more like a presence. A hush, a pause in the stillness. You close your eyes and breathe. The scent of earth is stronger here. Not decay, but life grown deep in silence. The kind of life that dreams underground. When you open your eyes again, the petals are gone. Only the ripples remain. Further on, you come to a narrow row of headstones. Each the same shape, the same weathered gray, spaced perfectly. You count them without meaning to, 7 in all, and though none are marked, each feels known to you, as if the air around them carries the faintest warmth of former voices. You kneel by one, fingertips grazing the cool stone, and a single name drifts into your mind, not from sight, but from feeling. A name, like a bell in the distance, familiar, forgotten. The mist thickens once more, folding you inward. Your breath quiets, even your heartbeat feels far away. And yet, you are not lost. The fog does not confuse, it softens, it holds. There is something kind in its unseeing gaze. It does not demand understanding. It does not offer answers. It only waits. You pass beneath an arched tree whose branches bend low with moisture, their tips kissing the mossy ground. Your hand grazes a trailing leaf, and it clings, just for a moment, as if reluctant to let go. Beyond the tree, a small mausoleum appears, squat and time-worn, its door slightly ajar. You hesitate, but your feet move forward. Inside, the air is cooler, and the mist gathers in low, shimmering pools. You do not enter fully, only lean close, peering into its hollow dark. Inside, a single candle burns. No flame, only a steady red glow, like breath held. It casts no shadow, no warmth. And yet, your shoulders ease. You stay there a while, breathing with it. The hush of the fog outside keeps time, and in the long silence, you hear something. Beneath everything, a lullaby in reverse, unsown by lips that never moved. You turn away gently, unwilling to disturb the stillness within. The fog receives you again, wrapping softly around your limbs, as if recognizing your shape. A figure crosses your path then, only a shimmer, not flesh, not ghost. A memory made visible for a heartbeat. A woman in an old green shawl. She walks ahead without turning, her bare feet never touching the ground. You follow, but she fades before the third step. It doesn't matter. Her presence lingers like perfume caught in lace, like breath left in a cold room. The fog carries you. Now, it knows the path, even if your eyes do not. And as you move, you begin to sense it that the mist is not merely weather, but a veil, a keeper of quiet things. It drifts between the spaces of grief and peace, folding secrets into the roots of willow trees, tucking soft laughter into the curve of crumbled urns. It does not forget. It simply lets go slowly. At the edge of the hill, you pause. The wind stirs here soft and low, stirring the fog into lazy ribbons. Beneath it, the grass glows with dew, and a small silver bell, tied to a child's grave, tinkles once. You close your eyes, you listen, and in that sound, you feel everything at once. Sorrow, joy, parting, return. A moment held in the hush, between heartbeats. Somewhere in the distance, a chime echoes gently through the mist. Somewhere ahead, a lantern sways, and somewhere, just beyond your reach, the fog begins to thin. The frost comes in layers tonight, thin and brittle at first, like spun sugar on the iron fences, then thicker, veiling the headstones in a hush of white breath. You step lightly, your soles muffled by snow that hasn't yet been broken. The graveyard, ever still, seems to be sleeping beneath its wintry veil, exhaling slowly beneath stars that blink like tired eyes. The moon, pale and wide as a frozen pond, spills its silver across the stone paths. Lighting your way without urgency, your breath floats before you in soft puffs, like forgotten messages rising into the dark. You pass the statue of the morning, angel, her marble wings softened by frost. Ivy curls at her feet, still green beneath the snow, refusing to forget the sun. There's a sound somewhere, perhaps wind, perhaps memory, low and musical, like a lullaby hummed beneath breath. And then you see it, one grave. Unlike the others, tucked between two tall elms, whose bare branches reach like fingers toward dreams. A mound rises faintly beneath a cradle of color. Wildflowers bloom there, impossibly, delicately, in the dead hush of winter. They sway slightly, not trembling from cold, but as if listening, leaning toward some deep rhythm pulsing beneath the frost. You walk slowly toward it, uncertain, drawn. Your knees press into the snow as you settle before the grave. The stone is worn, its name faded with time, smoothed by countless winters and countless hands. The earth beneath your palm feels strangely warm, as if the ground remembers something it cannot quite speak aloud. You run your fingers along the petals. A violet leans against your skin, its face small and open. A daisy rests like a question, its center golden even under the moon's pale light. Frost clings to the edges of each bloom, but none are wilted. None have surrendered to the cold. You wonder, softly, who lies beneath. Was it someone who loved spring? Someone who sang into the trees? Someone who once laughed so brightly that even the dirt held on to the echo? The wind doesn't answer, but it brushes your hair from your face, like a hand that knows you. You stay there a long time, listening above you. A hush falls deeper. No birds stir, no branches creak. Just the hush of snowflakes, one by one, drifting from the sky like secrets. The flowers remain untouched. No flake dares settle upon them. They are warmed from within. You trace the edge of one petal with your fingertip. It's tender, like skin, like breath. The longer you sit, the more it feels like you're not alone. Not in a haunting way, but in a remembered one, as though someone is beside you, quiet and kind, sharing the silence. There's no fear here, only presence. The cold settles into your coat, but still, you stay. The grave feels like a heartbeat, not yours, not quite the earth's either. Something in between, a murmur, a pulse, a promise, as if the ground itself has chosen to remember chosen to bloom, chosen not to forget. You close your eyes, and for a moment, you imagine roots beneath you, twining around bones and stone, cradling the silence with flowers. What kind of soul leaves such a mark? A whisper rises behind you, soft, uncertain. It could be wind, could be words. You don't turn to look. You simply listen. The hush folds around you like velvet. The wildflowers lean toward you, brushing your sleeve, and you can almost hear them sigh. Or maybe it's the soil. You lie back slowly, snow cradling your shoulders. Above, the stars remain unchanged, but something in you shifts. There's warmth beneath you still, the faintest ember in the wintered ground. The air smells of ice, of green things trying to remember how to grow. You wonder if all grief, in time, leaves flowers. Your eyes trace the shadow of a tree against the sky. Its limbs cradle the stars gently, as if trying not to wake them. Somewhere, a night bird calls, once low and fluting. Then silence returns. You begin to breathe slower. The frost doesn't reach your fingertips anymore. You press your hand against the earth again, and it welcomes you. The petals curl slightly against your palm. You could fall asleep here, beneath the open sky, beside a grave that refuses to forget what it once loved. The wind carries something faint, a lullaby you've never heard, yet somehow remember. Maybe someone once sang it to the one beneath. Maybe they still do. Maybe the flowers remember the sound and push through the frost just to listen. A single snowflake lands on your cheek, cool and soft, and melts slowly. You don't open your eyes. The grave does not ask questions. It only blooms. It only remembers. It only waits. In the hush, a warmth rises from the soil again, slow and careful, like a memory that's been resting too long and finally dares to stretch. You wonder if this grave ever sleeps, or if it simply dreams, long and blooming, into the deep white of winter. You rise at last, brushing snow from your sleeves. You do not want to leave, but something calls you forward. Not a voice, but a feeling. The grave behind you remains bright, even in shadow. Its flowers glow like stars fallen gently to the ground as you walk. You look back once, and the blooms do not sway from cold or wind, but from the unseen stirrings of something kind. The path ahead is soft again. Snow hushes your footsteps. The frost glimmers like glass dust along the railings. The wind circles you with the scent of petals that should not be, and yet are. A bell sounds once distant, slow, not loud enough to wake the dead, just enough to stir the silence. And ahead, at the edge of the path, a candle flickers on a moss-covered stone, as if someone just placed it there. There is a place where the earth forgets how to grieve. Tucked away in the far northeast, past the crooked elms and the rusting gate that no longer closes, a low hill cradles a circle of graves, worn smooth by time. The path to this place is neither marked nor paved. It drifts, like memory, through tall grasses and over moss-kissed stones, arriving not with certainty, but with surrender. The air is different here, softer. Still, you walk slowly, as if each footstep is a question. The world around you quiets in layers, like folds of linen pulled over a restless thought. The wind no longer speaks in gusts but in long exhalations, like an old friend murmuring from across the room. As you step into the circle, the earth beneath you exhales too, and the silence becomes an invitation. These graves are not solemn. They do not sag beneath sorrow, nor cling to names. Their inscriptions have faded, their corners have rounded, and time has dressed them in lichen and sleep. They do not remember who they were, and they do not need to. In this quiet corner, the past no longer pleads for remembrance. It dreams. You lower yourself to the ground, without effort. The grass here is soft, tangled with silver thread and low-growing thyme. A scent lingers, something like lavender and rain, something like pages left open too long in the sun. Above, the sky has forgotten to change. It hovers in a perpetual twilight, the kind that blurs the edge between waking and sleeping, between one breath and the next. You rest your back against a grave no taller than your shoulder. It presses cool and steady through your spine, as if lending you its patience. Your body slows, and with it, your thoughts grow dim. This corner of the graveyard does not ask questions. It does not hold regrets. Here are the dreams that once belonged. 2 others rise up like mist, drifting through you. Gentle and without story. A woman once wished to walk again beside a river. You feel the cool water lap at your ankles. A boy once dreamt of a lantern that never burned out, and the glow flickers behind your eyes. A man who could never speak finds music in the wind, and now the breeze hums low across your skin. You are not remembering. You are becoming. The ground beneath you seems to breathe, and the graves around you lean in, not as watchers, but as fellow sleepers. Time loosens. The sky tilts slightly, and the stars, though faint, begin to pulse. 1, 2, 3, like a heartbeat or a lullaby. Your fingers trail over the moss that blooms between names. It is not damp, but warm, like skin just before sleep. A blackbird calls once from the distant yew tree, and then thinks better of it. The hush returns, and you are glad. The dreams come quietly here, not like visions, not like stories, but like water filling the hollow places inside you. You do not know whose dream it is, or if it matters. A child running along a summer field, a sailor watching the lanterns from shore, a woman in a red shawl waiting in the snow, though no one comes. You blink slowly. You do not need to know why. All around the graves sigh in contentment. They seem to turn their faces up to the sky. If they could smile, you think they would. Not out of joy or sorrow, but out of knowing. Here, in this forgotten circle, they are not endings. They are beginnings that never had to rush. You stretch out along the earth, one arm tucked beneath your head. The world slips past its need for shape. Time flattens. Memory fades like fog in a warming dawn. Your breath is steady now, no faster than a feather falling. Above you, the trees move, not in wind, but in thought. Their leaves rustle with sighs, as though they too are remembering how to forget. Somewhere deep in the branches, something dreams of wings, a low chime. Sounds perhaps only in your chest. Not a bell, not a voice. Just a knowing tone, ringing through the marrow of things. It lingers, then melts into the stillness. A single dandelion seed drifts past your cheek, caught in no wind, carried by no force. It simply floats, a slow spinning echo of breath, and now your eyes no longer resist. The lids grow heavy, kissed by the weightless hush of 100 sleeping stones. The world narrows to the rhythm of your breath and the scent of old time, and the hush that waits beneath every name. Nothing stirs. Even the dreams quiet now, pooling beneath your ribs like cool water in a stone basin. You are not asleep, and yet not awake. You are drifting, held, dreaming the graves around you settle deeper, content to lie beside you, not keeping watch, just resting too. The grass sighs, the stars blink, and your pulse forgets to count the hours. In this circle, no one visits. Time is not lost. It is simply laid down, like a coat across the lap of silence. You pull it around you, and the night grows warmer, far off. A lantern flickers, faint golden, swaying just beyond the next hill. Perhaps a watcher, perhaps a dream. You do not rise to follow. You do not need to. You stay, and the stones dream. With you, the light from the lantern dims, folds inward, until it is nothing more than a warm pulse behind your eyelids, soft and steady, leading gently toward the hush that waits beyond the veil of trees. The grass is silver with dew as you step into the clearing. Mist coils low across the earth, clinging to stone and root like fingers reluctant to let go. A crescent of folding chairs rests quietly in the open, their backs glistening in the hush. Before morning, arranged as if the guests might still arrive, though none ever do. You walk slowly toward them, your feet soundless against the softened ground. The air is still, holding its breath. There is no altar, no casket, no name carved into a stone. Just a bouquet of white lilacs resting on a simple wooden seat, there. Petals heavy with moisture, their scent faint and strange like memory made visible. Someone placed them here at dawn. You wonder who. You wonder if it was you. You take your place among the empty chairs, choosing one not at the center, but slightly askew, as if you might slip in and out without drawing too much notice. The seat is damp through your clothes, cool against your spine. Around you, The fog pulses softly, gathering in folds and thinning in quiet breath. There are no words, no hymns, only silence, and the silence speaks. You sit with your hands in your lap, palms open, not searching but waiting. You feel something settle near you, not beside you, but through you, like a thought too old to think again. The presence is familiar, not sharp, not startling, just known, as if you've been waiting for it all along, across lifetimes or dreams. Above, the sky is a pale veil, not yet colored by day, and the branches overhead stretch their arms with slow grace, framing the moment like cathedral arches. A single blackbird watches from a low stone cross, unmoving, as if holding vigil. You do not speak to it, and it does not blink. Its stillness is a kind of blessing. The funeral begins, though there is no one to officiate, no procession, no script. It begins with breath, yours slow and steady, like tide against shore. It begins with the ache behind your ribs, the kind that only shows itself in sacred places. You don't know what was lost, but you feel its shape inside you. Not a body, not a name. Something older, softer, woven into the threads of who you are. Your eyes drift to the bouquet again. Lilacs, white, clean scent of damp cloth and softened pages. You remember a garden, though perhaps it wasn't yours. You remember laughter folded in the green, and small hands brushing petals with awe. That memory presses at the edge of your thoughts, tender as a bruise. Was it a child? A sibling? A version of you, still whole and unnamed? The chairs remain empty, though the fog plays tricks at times, suggesting silhouettes. The gentle lean of a shoulder, the brief shimmer of a shoe. But they vanish when you look directly. They were never really there. Or perhaps they were only ever ghosts of those who never got to say goodbye? Time stretches, warm and slow, as if wrapped in thick wool. You let your thoughts drift. You remember a melody with no words, a lullaby hummed through the bones of an old house, or maybe through your own throat, long ago, to someone who never stayed. The air around you listens. The mist curls tighter, then loosens again, as if nodding in sleep. The blackbird shifts its feet, then stills again. A drop of dew falls from a branch above, striking the ground with the softest of notes. You look down. The earth here is darker, softer, a place that has accepted many things. Roots twist through it like veins, pulling secrets below. You place your hand gently on the seat beside you, feeling the chill seep into your skin. You close your eyes, and for a moment, you feel fingers touch yours. Not cold, not warm, but remembered. A touch that has been held before, perhaps in dreams, perhaps in grief. You do not open your eyes. You do not need to. The presence is enough. In this funeral, there is no sermon, just the quiet litany of breathing and breeze. The ceremony is not for spectacle. It is for stillness. It is for noticing the things too soft to shout, the way absence can hold space, the way longing can feel like prayer, and slowly, something inside you loosens. A knot you didn't know you carried, a name you never said aloud. The morning isn't loud, it's gentle. It moves through you like a slow tide retreating, leaving behind a shore smoothed by time. You are not healed, but you are held. You stay. Until the lilacs begin to wilt, their heads bowing under the weight of memory. You stay until the blackbird flies away without sound, its shadow cutting a brief line through the fog. You stay until the mist begins to thin, and the sky hints at dawn's first color. Not gold, not blue, but something in between, like the quiet between thoughts. You stand. You do not take the bouquet. You do not speak. You simply leave the seat, leave the clearing, leave the unspoken prayer hovering in the mist like unfinished breath. Your footsteps are soft. The chairs remain behind, empty and waiting, as if this farewell is never quite over. And as you walk, the trees part like old friends, and the path bends gently toward the next quiet mystery. Somewhere deeper in the graveyard, a wind stirs a hanging bell. It does not ring. Not yet, but it moves, just enough to catch the light, just enough to promise another moment still to come. The wind hushes again. Somewhere ahead, a bell waits in silence, its voice curled within bronze lips, ready to wake or vanish with the breeze. The gate is there again, as it always is, tall, wrought of curling iron, damp with evening's hush. It rises from the mist, as though the fog built it from breath and memory alone. You pause before it, as you have many times, but tonight is different. Tonight, it opens for you. There is no creak, no clang. Just a hush, like the sigh of a dream, slipping further from waking. The iron parts like two quiet hands, opening to reveal the road beyond, long, silvery, and curved like the stem of a fallen leaf. You step forward without sound, your footsteps swallowed by the mossy stones beneath. The gate does not close behind you. It waits, as if it knows you may return. The air here is cool and pale, brushed by the light of a moon that feels more imagined than real. It shimmers like something painted onto velvet, its glow bleeding across the path. Shadows stretch, without menace, long and soft, like forgotten lullabies folded into the ground. The wind moves like water, gently, always gently, and your breath becomes part of its low, quiet, deep. To your right, a tree leans over the path. Its trunk is hollowed with time, but inside, a faint golden glow pulses, as though a lantern once, lit within, still flickers softly. Moths circle its opening, silent and slow, like thoughts that never needed words. You reach out, touch the bark, and it feels warm, not from sun, but from something older, something held. The road curves, and each turn leads you deeper into a place you cannot name, yet remember. The stones underfoot are etched faintly with initials, spirals, and the tiniest of birds. You do not know who carved them, or when, but your fingers trace the grooves like they belong to a story half dreamed. Somewhere nearby a bell rings, once not a call, not a warning, just a note that drifts and disappears, like breath on glass. A willow arches overhead, its branches trailing mist like lace across your shoulders. You do not duck. The touch is kind, almost protective, and its scent is soft wet, earth, and the sweetness of sleep. Beneath it lies a bench, half sunk into the moss. You sit, and the wood remembers you. Its surface is cool, but welcoming, like a memory you'd almost let go of. In the distance, the graveyard hums behind you. Not loud, not sad, just there breathing. It does not pull, does not beckon. It waits with patience. Like an old friend, watching from behind a curtain of fog, smiling without needing to be seen. Time here is fluid, not counted. Minutes spill like water, pooling in silver reflections beneath the trees. Fireflies begin to rise, not in clusters, but one by one, each flicker a heartbeat too slow to be real. You lift your hand to one, and it drifts closer, landing lightly on your palm. It pulses him, bright, dim again, then takes off, leaving a trail of warmth behind. There is no sound of birds, but somewhere far beyond, an owl might be watching. You feel it more than hear it, a slow awareness, feathered and patient, as if even the night is holding its breath to not wake the slumbering earth. You walk again, slower still, the path turning beneath you. Every few steps, the wind changes. It brings with it fragments. The scent of lavender left on a scarf, long buried. The rustle of silk slippers once worn down a chapel aisle. The faintest echo of laughter inside a raindrop. Nothing here shouts. Everything whispers. At a fork in the path, a lantern hangs from a crooked hook. It sways, though there is no breeze, and its flame is blue, not cold, but distant, like a thought that no longer needs explaining. You pass beneath it, and your shadow dances for a moment before joining the others beside you. They walk quietly too, never overtaking, never lingering. Your feet begin to move without will, like the road now guides them. The trees thin, and ahead the sky opens not fully, just enough to reveal a seam of stars sewn into the night. Their glow does not pierce the darkness. It hums softly through it, like old piano keys pressed behind a closed door. And there at the edge of the path, where gravel gives way to grass, a stone wall rises. Low and curved, it circles nothing, just air, and a few forgotten blooms that open only at night. You lean in, and the flowers breathe sweetly. Moonvine, starbells, quiet roses that do not know their own color. You inhale, and for a moment, it feels like you've come home. Beyond the wall is a mirror pool, still and flawless. You kneel beside it and see not your reflection, but a window to another dusk. A version of you walks a similar path, farther, back in time, or forward. You can't tell. The moon is different, softer there. The figure pauses at a gate that is not yet opened, and you feel, gently, that maybe they are waiting for you to return. But you rise instead. The path is not done, not yet. As you walk once more, the sounds behind you begin to fade, not vanish, but hush. The gate in the distance is still open, just barely, like a breath held before the next sigh. You do not look back. The road lifts, slightly now, rising into a soft hill, and the fog grows thicker, but it carries with it the scent of something sacred. Old books, candle wax, and lavender rain. With each step your body feels lighter. The world grows quieter, and then a sound like the flutter of pages. A single white feather drifts down from nowhere, landing at your feet. You bend to pick it up, but a breeze lifts it before your fingers. Close, it spins once, twice, and floats forward. Following it, you disappear into the fog. Somewhere ahead, something waits with arms of wind and bells made of bone-white stone, but you do not rush. You walk slow, as dusk folds itself gently around you, and behind you, the gate breathes closed. A hush lies thick over the graveyard tonight, the kind of silence that listens more than it speaks. Mist curls in lazy spirals across the ground, pale and slow as the breath of something ancient asleep. You walk with care, each step pressing into the softened earth, as if not to wake what lies beneath. Gravel shifts gently underfoot. Somewhere to your left, a crow tucks its head into the folds of its wing and dreams no more. The path is winding here, not marked, but remembered, an old trail worn smooth by quiet feet over quiet years. A low wall, crumbled and moss-laced, guides your way like a spine of stone in the sleeping hill. You follow it, brushing your fingertips across the lichen-crusted top. The texture is cool and damp, like touching the memory of rain. Every so often, the wind hums through the trees in long, slow tones, like a lullaby that has forgotten its words but still remembers the tune. There is a stone at the edge of the path, smaller than the others, tucked beneath a drooping yew. The yew leans over it like a watchful mother, or a mourner who has not yet risen. You pause before it. There is no name etched into its face, only the shallow trace of time's passage. A crack, a vein of silver moss, a worn indent where fingers may once have lingered. But atop the stone sits a candle, its wax curled and waiting. You don't remember placing it there. You don't remember bringing a match. But your hand slips into your coat pocket and finds a small box, the corners softened. By where? As if it had always belonged to you, as if you had been meant to find it now. The strike of the match is a hush within a hush, a sound so small it feels sacred. The flame flares briefly, startled by its own birth, then calms. You tip it to the wick. The candle receives the fire, like an old friend, drinking in the light and then giving it back, brighter, steadier. You sit. The stone is cold beneath you, but not unkind. You lean back against the bowed trunk of the yew tree, and it does not shift. Its bark breathes behind you, slow and deep, as if acknowledging your presence with the patience of centuries. The candle glows to your right, its flame bending slightly, with each breeze but never going out. It dances, quietly. It remembers something you do not. You watch it, and the watching becomes a kind of remembering. Perhaps it is not your memory. Perhaps it belongs to the stone, or the yew, or to the night itself. But in its glow, images drift slowly through your mind like fallen leaves in still water. An old scarf, a small laugh, a song hummed under breath on a day without reason. You do not try to hold them. You simply let them come. A moth circles the flame once, twice, then lands on the edge of the melted wax, wings barely moving. You wonder if it remembers the stars, if it ever knew the difference between fire and moonlight. Somewhere, deeper in the graveyard, a bell chimes softly, not a toll, not a call, only a note hanging in the air, like a breath released. It carries across the grass and mist, brushing past stones and leaves, until it finds you. It feels like a thought you almost had. The candle flickers, once. You close your eyes. The night is not cold. It is velvet-trapped, slow breathing. Around you, the grass whispers secrets only the roots can keep. A faint scent of earth and forgotten violets rises with the mist, settling in your lungs like lullabies. The graveyard sighs as if in sleep, every tree leaning a little nearer, every stone watching without weight. In the corner of your vision you sense movement, a shape cloaked in gray, drifting just beyond the reach of the candle's light, not coming closer, not retreating, simply being. Like a thought left unfinished. You do not fear it. It has no edges, no intent. It is part of the night, as you are, as the candle is. You lean your head back, and above you the sky spreads wide and slow. The stars are quieter now, dimmer. They do not twinkle, they breathe, inhale, exhale. Still, somewhere far beyond, the moon lowers her gaze, casting a silver path through the clouds. It does not reach the stone where you sit, but you feel its presence. A gentle awareness, not light, not warmth, but knowing. The kind of knowing that asks for nothing in return. The candle burns lower. Its wax pools around the base, catching tiny reflections of flame and shadow, like a lake of memory that will not spill. Each flicker is a heartbeat. Each flutter of the flame is a word never spoken, yet always understood. You find that your breath has slowed, matched to the rhythm of the wind in the trees that creak gently, not in protest, but in time, as if rocking something unseen to sleep. Perhaps it is you. The stone beneath you is no longer cold. It has become the temperature of your thoughts, weightless, wandering. The mist gathers around your legs and arms, not clinging, not hiding, but wrapping, as a blanket might, as memory does. The candle does not ask anything of you. It waits, it watches, and you feel watched, not by eyes, but by presence. A soft awareness, as if something long forgotten still hopes for your comfort, still remembers your hands. You touch the stone beside you, gently, just once. Your fingers trace the curve where a name might have been. There is none. But it doesn't feel empty, only quiet. The flame leans again in the breeze, and this time, it does not return to stillness. It flickers harder, then steadies once more. Lower now, smaller, not struggling, simply, near the end of its purpose. You wonder if it remembers the moment it was lit, or if all that matters is this small hour, this hush, this warmth shared in the dark. Another breeze comes, this one cooler, cleaner, like breath drawn from deep within the trees. The mist stirs. The yew shifts slightly, shedding a single leaf that lands beside the stone. The candle's light bends. You feel something loosen in your chest, a knot you didn't know you carried, now quietly undone. Above, the stars fade further, not extinguished, but resting. The bell does not chime again. It has said all it needed to say. All the night holds now is the hush. The slow roll of time turns soft, and the comfort of being small in a world that remembers without words. The flame is a whisper now, a thin line of gold wavering in the deepening dark. You do not move. You do not need to. Everything needed has already happened. Everything else can wait. The candle sighs once, then flickers out, and still, the stone glows faintly in your memory. Still, the yew leans close. Still, the mist holds you. From somewhere unseen, a single petal drifts down, caught on a breeze that carries no direction. It turns once in the air, then is gone. Behind it a faint sound begins, the rustle of feathers, a soft, distant echo of wings, brushing past gravestones, preparing, perhaps, for the chapter to come. The moss has grown thick between the stones now, soft as the whisper of dusk settling over an open field. You walk slowly, as if your steps are not yours alone, but carried in the folds of something older, something that breathes beneath the ground. Each footfall presses gently into the damp earth, and the earth, in turn, presses softly into memory. The graveyard sighs around you, not with sorrow, but with remembrance. Long grass leans into your ankles. Ferns unfurl their cool, green fingers along the path. The trees that once stood young now tower, guardians of hush and shadow. Their roots, gnarled and deep, curl like sleeping hands around the forgotten stones. You do not disturb them. You simply pass, like a breeze, too gentle to turn a leaf. In this place, names have lost their sharpness. Letters etched long ago have surrendered to lichen, to rain, to the patient sweep of time. And yet the space they mark still holds weight. Not heavy, not mournful, but full of breath that has been exhaled, of words that once lingered in the air and sank down like pollen. You sense them still, the way you might sense warmth in a chair recently vacated, or the lingering fragrance of jasmine after a stranger has passed. The stone you pause beside leans slightly to the east. There is no name left to read, only the gentle groove of what once was. You run your fingers over it, and for a moment, your skin echoes with something older than language. The hush of a lullaby. The hush of a last goodbye. The stone is cool, but not cold. It is resting, and so are you. You sit down in the tall grass, and the ground welcomes you without question. Beneath you, roots tangle in slow conversation. Fungi bloom like stars in the soil. Worms and memory move in tandem, reshaping what has been, nourishing what might be. This earth, this tender quilt of lives once lived, remembers without judgment. It does not forget where laughter fell, or where tears made tiny rivers in the dust. It remembers your steps, the slow ones, the hurried ones, the ones that hesitated before a name. A wind moves through the trees, not to scatter, but to gather. Leaves shimmer slightly, turning their pale undersides toward the dimming sky. There's a scent in the air, not quite rain, not quite smoke, but something in between. It smells like the edge of summer, like pages turning, like sleep coming. Closer, you close your eyes, and in the quiet, you hear what the ground keeps, the hushed echo of someone kneeling once, just here. Perhaps in grief, perhaps in prayer, perhaps both. A child's giggle, tucked between two hedges where ivy now grows wild. The slow beat of a heart that once stood still for a long goodbye. These are not ghosts. They are not frightening. They are gentle shadows, softened by the weight of time and moss. You lie back, and the earth does not resist. Grass cradles your shoulders, a stone warms your hand. The sky above is pale with evening, and the first star has not yet dared to appear. You listen, not with your ears, but with your whole body. And what you hear is not words, but presence. A feeling like someone watching over you with quiet affection. Not to interfere, only to witness, to remember all around you. Time stretches like fog, thick and slow, curling around your limbs, blurring the edges of now and before. A bell somewhere rings far away, soft, maybe only in memory. Its chime ripples through the air, then sinks gently into the roots. This place has no need for loud grief or bright monuments. It holds something quieter. The knowledge that you have been here, that you loved and were loved, that you listened and were heard, that your breath once rose and fell beneath these same trees. A crow calls once, then falls silent. The sound doesn't startle, it just marks a moment. A feather on the wind, a thought drifting loose. You watch it pass, you let it go. A fog begins to gather near the stones, thin as gauze, brushed silver by the moon. It does not cover. It reveals details dissolve, but the feeling sharpens. The heart of the place is clearer in the mist, as if seen from beneath a veil of dream. You feel it in your chest, the quiet joy of being remembered without needing to be named. There is no one else here, and yet you are not alone. The breeze is your companion, the ground, your witness, the roots, your keepers. You do not need to speak. Even silence, here, is understood. You press your hand into the earth one last time, and it hums faintly beneath your fingers, a low, contented sound, like something alive and sleeping. The hum lingers, even as your hand falls away. The wind moves again, leaves shift. A shadow glides across your vision. Not a figure, not a threat, just movement. Just the world turning softly in its sleep. In the distance, a slow, low sound begins, not a voice, not quite a song. It might be the ground itself, dreaming, or the memory of footsteps once taken, echoed back like a heartbeat. The bell rings again, but this time it's quieter, as if calling inward, as if fading, as if leading you into the next hush.